What is up, all my dorks, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, and I'm joined with...
Nike.
And you are watching Dorkston Movie Minute. Today we are finishing up talking about the WandaVision series, episode 6, 7, 8, and 9. These are the Halloween episode, we just talked about this, Halloween episode, then it goes into...
Then it was the Bad Day episode.
Yes, Bad Day episode. Then it was
the Agatha flashback.
Flashback episode, Wanda flashback, because it wasn't really her. It was more.
Yeah.
Well, you got a little bit of her in the beginning, but other than that, then it's the finale. So let's start off with episode 6, the Halloween episode. So this is at a time where we still don't know who Pietro was or how he played into the story, but so they really did rely heavily on him being Quicksilver with the costume, the retro costumes everyone was wearing. We got to see the original Vision costume, what it would have looked like if they did a cheesy TV version costume. We got to see Wanda's Scarlet Witch costume before we see the real one towards the end of the series. We got a lot of cool callbacks as well with the twins having their costumes, common accurate costumes from the comic books as well. So that was a cool little callback there. I'm trying to remember here what happened plot-wise in this episode, because it's been a while since we have watched this episode.
Yeah, because that's the one where...
I know Vision...
Because they're doing the Halloween, they're trick-or-treating, and then Vision gets on the outskirts of town.
Because I think Vision was in the office, and he mind controls a guy, and he panics, and he tells him all about it, and then he gets the contact from Darcy on the other side in the email. It's like an SOS or whatever, and then he puts the guy back to normal because the guy freaked out completely. So yeah, that was a cool... I thought that was a pretty cool moment. Once again, they're... continuing these horror tropes in these episodes, sneaking them in there at the most unsuspecting of times, where it'll go from peaceful, calm encounter to something sinister. Like the tone shifts so fast, and then it goes right back to normal. So I think that's an outstanding attribution I would put towards WandaVision. But yeah, that was the Halloween episode. There's not a lot that goes on. Vision mostly wants to get out of town because he knows something's wrong. He sees the lady. He goes on the outskirts of town. The farther he gets out, he learns that Wanda can't actually control everybody in the town. Only the people within her radius, basically who she can see or is actually around, is actually being controlled. The others are kind of in pause mode, and they kind of do normal activities that wouldn't repair.
Yeah, they can't do anything. Because I remember there's the one where it's like the lady looks like she's like hanging up a ghost decoration for Halloween, and she has a tear in her eye, but she's smiling, but she's froze.
Yeah, just
and
frozen.
and then it's like super slow motion.
Yep. This is also where we get the scene of Agatha Harkness. Vision does the mind control thing where he awakens her powers, supposedly, and she spills the beans on Wanda's controlling everything. It tells him everything that Wanda wasn't telling him, conveniently. So then he's like, all right, well, I got to get out of here. So he goes even further out of town. He finally gets to the end of the bubble, and he pushes himself through, is what he does. And we all know that this Vision isn't the real Vision. This isn't created by man Vision. This is Vision brought back by Wanda. So we knew that he wasn't going to make it, and of course he starts breaking apart and all that. So Wanda flips out and expands the bubble by a lot, consuming a bunch of the SWORD agents that were stationed outside of it.
Yeah, their little mini bases that they had, their tent bases they had going on.
Yes.
They end up getting turned into like ice cream trucks or something like that.
Yeah, circus clowns.
Circus, that's right.
Yes, and like strong men and stuff like that. But yeah, so that was very entertaining, and that's actually where the episode ended. Darcy, the episode ended. Darcy was the last person to get consumed when the bubble expanded, because she was just on the outskirts of the truck, and she was it was too fast.
Yeah, because she was actually going to try help the Vision.
Yes.
The Wanda reality Vision.
Yes.
So,
So yeah, she got consumed in. That's where the episode ends. Now let's pick off with episode 7. Yancy, you wanna tell us a bit about episode 7?
That's the bad day. Yeah, with Agatha, right?
Yeah, this is oh no, see I can't. That's what I'm saying. This episode was kind of
Oh no, because you're talking about the circus, right? Because it expands.
yeah, they go to the circus. This is a more Vision and Darcy episode.
Yeah, because this is more, like I said, this is where they reference like Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes.
With the opening and stuff, and the way the boys are acting.
Yes. And this is
But
also,
this is
yeah. Go ahead.
I think this is the one also where Wanda. If I remember right, I think it was the Halloween episode where Wanda tells her brother off. You know.
Yeah. She blasts him on the side there, and then he disappears for this episode as well. He just doesn't show up.
Yeah.
I think until the post-credit scene, I think he does, but at the very end.
Yeah, like it has been a while since it's been like a few years since I watched it.
Yeah, I remember it starts with her waking up in the morning, and she's like, "Oh, Mondays or whatever," and she's like, "We all have them," and then she goes to hang out with the kids. She can't control her powers, like they were like shifting. The milk carton was shifting on the counter to different time periods and all that stuff. And that's when Agatha is like, "Hey, I'll take the kids from you, give you a day to yourself, or whatever. They can stay at my house." And she's like, "Great, awesome. I need a day to myself." So Agatha takes the kids. That's the last time we see them for the next 2 episodes. Then they show up. Well, the next episode, then they show up in the finale. So, but they come back to that. In this, you get Vision and Darcy teaming up. At first, Darcy thinks that Vision's kind of like hitting on her, so she's like, "No, I don't want to help you. Like, what are you talking about?" And Vision's like, "No, I'm trying to help. Like, I'm trying to tell you something's wrong here, or whatever." But then they end up working together. And then every time they get like an inch forward, Wanda would put something in front of them to stop them, like traffic or cones or. It was
Darcy
literally
was
like
losing it. She was like, "Come on," because Vision ends up leaving. He's just like, "All right, bye."
Yeah, I can fly. So he's like, and he's even like, "Why am I talking to the camera? Like, what is going
that
on?"
part I remember. Because he's like sitting there having that moment where they're talking to the camera, and then he's all of a sudden he's like, "Wait, why am I even doing this?"
He's like, "I'm out of here," and he just Superman.
He's
flies
like, "You're
out.
not even real. There's no one there." I was like,
all right, but. Yeah, but basically they're trying to stop them. Darcy, this is basically the last time we see Darcy until like the very, very end of the series, like at all, which kind of explains, it's kind of a funny explanation why, because she's not here, she's just being stopped infinitely by Wanda. So I'm like, so that's cool. Okay, how does this episode end? Oh, I don't think Vision comes back yet. No, we get the confrontation with Monica. They drive the truck in. They try to drive the truck in. It fails. Monica slips through the pedal area, I'm gonna call it. I don't know, the base of the car. Yeah, the floorboard. She phases through into the Wanda wall. I'm gonna call it the expansion, whatever you want to.
She like fights through, and then she's like, I remember she's seeing stuff or whatever.
But yeah, because it explained that this is literally it's a multi. For the most part, this is a multiverse. Wanda is tapping into different multiverses to draw from, and so what it showed was Monica in different time periods, different forms, different versions of that character in different multiverses, and her powers are basically when they came together, she can kind of see mystical things.
She kind of has like the Matrix thing going on, a Neo type thing.
Yeah, yep. And she can kind of see these things. So she's like, all right, I got powers somewhat. I mean, I don't know what they can do, but I feel stronger or whatever. So she goes and confronts Wanda. They have a face-to-face. And then that's when Agatha reinforces even more, like, oh yeah, the kids are going to be safe with me. Like, you should come with me. Like, let's get away from here.
Yeah, because isn't that because when Monica's there, because then that other dude and all of his goons show up too. Because they're able to break in or whatever, how they got in. And I remember they're all there about to do their thing, and then Agatha was like, "Nah, what's up?"
Yep. Yes. No, he doesn't go in. He sends Anti-Vision in. It was
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh man, that final confrontation was because Darcy's the one that gets him at the very, very end, at the very finale. But yeah, I think that's basically that. Well, that's all that really happened in this. We call it the Bad Day episode. Like I said, it was kind of just a filler. I want to call it. I mean, it didn't. I mean, it was there, but it was entertaining. It was funny. They had moments of levity and then story beats that worked, but it wasn't the best for me personally. But this next episode, I thought was genius. I really liked it. Getting these Wanda flashbacks, we call it. Oh, we gotta go back. Into the episode was Agatha gets Wanda to the basement because Wanda notices that the sandwiches were half eaten. Like, where are my kids at? And she sends her down to the basement. Agatha's down there, and she gets Wanda in the same trick that Wanda got the Avengers in Age of Ultron. That's when we get, like, she goes into a state, and then that's the end of the episode. And then we see Pietro once again in this episode. Monica Rambeau sees a backdoor area, and she's like, what is this? And he's like, Snooper's gonna snoop, and knocks her out, and that's it. So that was the end of that episode. Now we're on the finale. Or no, we're not. We're on the flashback episode. So
yeah, because then this is the one where it opens up with basically a flashback origin little scene for Agatha the Heartless.
Yes.
It's basically showing her what she went through and who she really is.
Well, a preview at least. Like, they didn't go deep into it, but it was enough to...
But no, to me, it was enough to show you just how ruthless she is.
Yeah.
I don't think people really... She is a true danger to them. Like, a Thanos level. I mean, like I said, cause it shows it with opening up with the witches. They're trying to do this spell and whatever. And they think that's working. Then she starts laughing. Then she just soaks up all of her power and turns them into crusty, crusty little mummies. And then her mom's like the ultimate one, and she sucks her up too. Takes all her power. And then Agatha's just rolling around with all this, and she's just been living forever, waiting for a day. And then she describes, through this episode, she describes that she's been watching Wanda ever since that she first flared up as an Avenger on the screen.
Yep.
But the thing is Agatha thinks that she's like really in tune with her powers, and what we find out through this episode is she doesn't know anything about her powers, about being an actual witch. Because like when they come into her basement, and then Wanda goes to use her powers, and she can't. And then that's when Agatha tells her about the runes. And only the witch that casts the spell or casts the runes can cast spells within them. So she's teaching her and educating her in history, but she's also trying to figure out where's this power coming from. So then she starts tapping into these flashbacks. Then we go all the way back to when she was a kid with her brother and her parents living in what is it, Slovakia?
Sokovia,
yeah.
Yep, the Sokovia Accords.
And like I remember and this is where you get the reference to Bewitched and the Dick Van Dyke Show and like Malcolm in the Middle, like all the different variety that they show.
Yep.
Is that it's what her dad or her parents kept for them to stay happy,
Yeah, family.
Because it shows them, like in the part in that flashback, it shows them getting ready to put it in, and their mom peeks out the window, and you see guys fighting, Civil War.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And then next thing you know, it just they get decimated, and it's but they show you, and it shows her reaching up as a kid, protecting her brother underneath the couch, and then with that bomb, that nuke sitting there. And it doesn't go off, but you don't see what happens. All you see is Wanda hold her hand up, and then it cuts out.
Yep.
And then Agatha's like, "Oh, so you used your powers to stop the bomb?" And she was like, "No, it just was a dud. It didn't do anything." And it's like, and we never actually got a clear print like what really happened. That's what I thought was cool. I was like, "Oh, okay, so she could potentially have had her powers as a child." But they didn't actually.
They didn't say or not. Yeah.
So
it's still open.
I think that's a real hidden you know, depth that they're
could have
gonna
been an
bring
X-Men
out
from the get-go. Yeah.
Yeah, like our mutants could have been around this whole time, but something, you know. But I mean, I think that was really not. I thought that was well hidden, but I thought
I agree with that.
But I thought it was like a lot of knowledge too, like a lot of info they gave us. I was like, oh, that's something big. I feel like that's something big coming in the future. So,
yeah.
But and then
I didn't even think about that actually, but when you brought that up, yeah, I could see that definitely. Good call.
And then what was it when we go into later? It shows her. Her and her brother like get recruited or
I don't remember. They joined Hydra.
And I think they joined for a good cause to make, you know, because they didn't
world from peace or eco.
But basically, it's
justice or something.
Hydra lied to get them in and then do tests.
Yes, they tested on them, tortured them,
and then they show the staff, you know, Loki's staff, and they're sending Wanda in to see what happens, and then while she's in there, they're in another room watching from a monitor, but they said like, oh, the previous, I think it's like 20-something subjects or whatever have all died.
Yeah.
And basically it showed, you know, like the stone or whatever pops out and comes to her and opens up, and then you can see this outline of the Scarlet Witch. And it's like, oh, and then when they show the video, all it shows is her walking in, and then it shows her dropping. So they don't even see all that.
Yeah.
But so she has a total special, unique connection with the Mind Stone.
Yeah. Yes. She has a part of it within her. Like somehow, some way, there's a part of the Mind Stone in her.
And that was the thing. Because Agatha starts referencing about the Scarlet Witch, and then that's when everything's like, whoa. It's like, okay, so they finally reference the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, because at this point, all Agatha wants at this point is to find out where she wants to show Wanda where it started, like the whole WandaVision thing started.
Yeah.
That's the point we're trying to get to by the end of this episode.
Yes, my love.
I was gonna go somewhere with that, but I lost it. So,
well, I guess
where were we at? What point were we on?
Well, Agatha wants all the power too, and then she's already suspecting the Scarlet Witch, so she already knows about this lore of this all being.
She knows about it, but Wanda doesn't.
Even from her, she's like, "Oh, this was like myth. We didn't even know this was real, but it is."
Yes.
And now she wants it.
Yes.
Because she doesn't think Wanda's
worthy, strong enough. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not even... So, they're keeping show, you know, the Scarlet Witch being an entity such as the Phoenix in X-Men. Yeah. So, I think that could be a possible parallel. I'm not sure. Because my knowledge on the Scarlet Witch in the comics is very limited.
Yeah.
But I knew she was a mutant, and it was like House of M. So, I always thought she knew she had powers. But now the way they introduced this, I was like, it's just different layers they're adding. And
yeah.
They're doing it. I mean, WandaVision I thought it was great. Because, I mean, when we start rolling, because then I think at the end of that episode is when she finally references. Yeah, because then she has her twins strung up on that street, and she like rises up as the all scary ass.
Yeah, that's at the very end. But we got to get to the point where it started with WandaVision. So we cut to Wanda doesn't remember how anything started from this. We cut to she shoots out like this piece of vision out of her head or whatever, red stuff creates vision.
Okay.
Yes. Then it cuts to black and white.
Yeah.
And that's where that starts from there.
Because after her incident with the staff and the Mind Stone, then they have a talk, and then it shows her in the room by herself, watching one of those shows, and Vision comes in through the wall.
Yeah. Yep.
And they have that moment.
Okay, but now I remember.
Then after that, because it shows her about being lonely, and then she's having more talks with Agatha. Then it shows her going to Sword's facility because she knows that they have vision.
Yes.
And this is when we find out some shit.
Yep, that's what I want to get to. That's what I want to say this part.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was just trying to fill everyone into that part because now this is where you get into the real meat of this episode. And I mean, okay. I'm not gonna lie. It's twisted. I was like, yo, that's messed up, bro.
Yeah. All right, guys. So here's the thing I wanted to drop on you. Wanda was invited by the head of S.W.O.R.D. to come down there and see Vision that way. Like, she was invited. She didn't break into anything. She didn't hurt anybody. He said, if you want him, try it and take him. Like, what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? We can't stop you. And that's what she does. She goes down there. She talks to the guy. He says, you want to see him one more time? I'm trying to give you closure or whatever. And she's like, yeah, not like this. Like, you're turning him into a weapon, not like this. So she takes his body and she gets out of there and they point his guns and he's like, no, let her go. We can't, nothing I can do to stop her. She's a freaking Omega level mutant or threat or whatever.
All she wants to do is bury him.
Yes. Then that's when we find out that Vision had bought a house at the end of Endgame for them both to live in after the movie or whatever.
Yeah, because this shows you why it's Westview, like where the locations where it's at, who the people have been in these different shows.
Because these would have been their neighbors if they would have lived there.
These would have been the people in the actual town. But it wasn't like, even like when she was driving, because it shows a flashback of her driving through the town. And it's like not like the greatest. Like some of the people that you've seen like in her reality, and then you see like in this, it's kind of like, right. Like, that's not who you thought they were probably gonna play.
Yep.
Because I think I remember Wanda ends up seeing oh god, what's that one chick's name? The blonde and the
Dottie.
Yeah, Dottie. And she's like driving, she sees her, and it's like not who you thought Dottie would be.
Yeah.
In real life. Yeah. So I thought that was cool, and then it shows that she has probably the deed or the title to the house.
Yes.
And property that, and then all it says on the thing is it like grow old together?
Yeah, to grow old together.
Yeah.
V, and it just said V for Vision. And it was kind of a heart-wrenching kind of thing, and it just kind of sucker punches you and reminds you that, hey, the MCU will never be the same after Endgame.
Like, yeah, because then at the end of it, that's when she like finally breaks. Like I think that's where she just loses it. Because she starts breaking down and crying, and then all of a sudden...
That's when you see the Scarlet Witch for the first time.
Like, this power's oozing out. And then you see her making Vision. I mean, that shit was crazy.
You see you see the entity of the Scarlet Witch. Like, no face, just pure power.
What is it?
And, yeah.
But what's really good on that, for what I do know, is that what the way they're building is, Scarlet Witch is basically going to be the entity. It's going to be her dark side.
Yeah,
it's going to be her Phoenix.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
But she has that piece of Vision, and that's her good side. So she has her devil on one side, and she has her angel on the other.
Yes.
Which makes for a great character arc now, because all they've done with Wanda since they introduced it's just been layers and layers of character development, and it's some of the greatest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Her art is unbelievable. She's had lows, she's had highs, now she's back to lows, and now she's just, well, she's in a dark place.
But an entertaining place, so
but but I thought the most touching, the most like strong scene in that whole episode was when she's down there looking at all of his parts, all over the table and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's down there, and then she puts her hand, on his forehead, and she's like, "I can't feel you."
Yeah.
I was like, that's messed up.
Yeah, it was a very emotional, deep episode, leading into, I'm gonna sell you a bridge, the finale. So, this episode was the action-packed
this
finale
was like,
we needed.
Yeah. This was like going to the theater and watching a Marvel movie.
Yeah, well, yeah, somewhat. If it was a little longer, then yes. But
the action that had brought to it.
The action was good. Yes. So we start right away with Agatha's got the Wanda rejects Agatha's mind control thing at the very end of the last episode. So she goes to confront her. She has the kids or whatever, and you saw her floating. We already talked about that, but it was like before we talked about at the end. But
well, yeah, no, because when she's having her moment and the Scarlet Witch is coming out and she's building the reality and Vision's coming out and all this. Because I remember, I think it's when she has that fight, and then she like powers out of Agatha, but Agatha just kind of basically lets her go.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remember right, and then that's where it ends, right? Where she has the kids strung up in the street.
Oh no! She woke up. Wanda wakes up in the basement, and Agatha's not there. And she hears the kids screaming for help, like "Mommy, help us, Mommy!" Then she goes out to the street. And then Agatha's there floating.
Because she was sitting there and she was like, you know, I speculated, she's like, but you're the Scarlet Witch. And that's when it's like, oh, okay, so now we know.
Yep. So then we start the finale off right where it left off, right there. And they just, basically they throw the kids to the side and they go at it for a second. They throw a car. She throws a car through a house and explodes.
Where did you two move from? How long have you been married?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good scene. It's a good fight scene. And then Vision...
I think she gets knocked. Doesn't Agatha get knocked into a house or something? But I don't remember. It's been a while.
I don't know. They were going at it, but then I know then Vision and Anti-Vision start going at it.
Yeah, Anti-Vision shows up, goes into the bubble to kill Wanda.
Yeah.
But he ends up going after Vision. They end up convincing each other that they're the same.
Yeah, because I think at one point, because her and Agatha are going at it, and that's when Anti-Vision shows up. And then Agatha's like, isn't this awkward or something like that? It's like your ex-boyfriend or whatever she says.
Yeah, it was right after Agatha's getting beat by Wanda, so Agatha's like, okay, then I'm going to turn all the townspeople against you. I'm going to show them that, like, what you really are. She does the mind erase thing. They turn on Wanda, and then Anti-Vision shows up, and then Vision shows up, and I think, doesn't he phase through a bus, I believe? Or something like that, and he just comes through and just knocks Anti-Vision. They go tumbling, and then they go into that watchtower library area.
Yeah, wherever they're, I don't even know how they ended up there. I was like, where? Weren't you guys just in a neighborhood? Like,
yeah, they were like punching each other, flying around.
It's like, yeah, like they tumbled, but I feel like they didn't go far. If I remember
not
right.
Really. No.
Next thing I know, they're just like in this big old like this, cylinder hall of a library.
Well, I remember they were also using like head beams on each other. They were like,
yeah, and they're like going in circles right in this awkward. I'm like, where's this at in this neighborhood? Like, what?
But they're in the library. Then they start convincing each other. Like, even the Vision that we see, he's like, I'm not the real Vision. I know I'm not the real Vision. And
yeah, well, that's the thing. He like ends up basically reverse psychology on the Anti-Vision.
Yeah.
Because Anti-Vision, he's like, they start talking for a second, and he's like, Vision asks him, he's like, oh, what's your mission or whatever? And he's like, oh, I'm here to kill, Wanda and Vision or whatever. And he goes, but I'm not the real Vision. You're the real Vision. And then he like holds and calculates or whatever, and he goes, and then he asks for, what is it, like a conference or whatever. And then that's when they're talking, and Vision's dropping some real knowledge and wisdom out there.
Yeah.
And then Anti-Vision's like soaking it up, and the AI in him starting to really develop.
Yep.
And it's fighting his programming and all that good Android stuff. And then at the end of it, like Vision touches him and like passes. Basically, it's Wanda's memories of Vision that she reincarnates into her reality, that he passes along to the rebuilt Vision. That's Anti-Vision.
Yes.
Very complex there.
Yes, but now like for the most part, Vision's back alive in some capacity in the MCU. Yes. Long story short.
Because when he touches him, then his eyes actually turn to like human eyes. Yes. They're not the cyber, like what were they, green or something like that?
Blue or something like that. Or
yeah.
Some weird, yeah.
But I remember you get like, they looked like electronic eyes, but then he ends up getting human eyes, and
then he flies off.
Flies away, and that's it.
And then that's when Vision's like, okay, I gotta go help my wife now. Because
I think he knew, he was like, all right, I'm gonna live now. Like, I know, like, I'm going to live, but I think it's gonna be some time though.
Yeah.
Which I said, I think they're building up. Like, that Doctor Strange is coming up.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be good.
Dude.
I know. But we get the family. This scene reminded me of The Incredibles so much because it was like the two kids and then Vision and Wanda posing up, ready to fight.
The twins are badass too, man.
Man, who were they fighting though? I'm trying to think. There's like
I think they were fighting the one dude, the sword goon guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they end up finally breaking into her thing.
Yeah,
because
they do.
When her and Agatha are fighting, she's losing grip on her bubble.
Yeah.
That's when they take advantage of it and they get in.
I remember that. Yes, they get in. They're fighting the sword guys off. Agatha and Wanda are still fighting in the air, straight Dragon Ball Z style. Like straight up Dragon Ball Z style. Yeah, then they're fighting in the air a little bit more. They're shooting beams at each other. Not beams,
yeah,
because they're throwing
Monica's in this episode, because she ends up hitting...
Yeah, well, no, she doesn't do much. Monica just saves the boys from the shooting.
Yeah, because I remember she ends up escaping from... Petro.
Basement.
But we find out that that it's not Petro.
Yeah, he was just an actor. They did a Iron Man 3.
Well, no, it's not even. It's not even an actor, but it's an actual person in their reality that Agatha takes and mind control and it makes her brother. And I'm like, God damn, dude, this show just had so many levels to it. But yeah, that's right. And then because that's when the goon sword dude showed up.
Yep.
And then Monica saves the boys from the shots.
Yep.
Because they're like going through Monica. Like that was some.
Yeah. That was her
some
powers.
That was next level Matrix.
Yeah, that was awesome. She's going to be a great lineup, a great asset to Captain Marvel 2, to Sword, that series when it comes, because I'm sure that's going to be her next step. And I think she's eventually going to be an Avenger. It's going to happen. She's going to be on the Avengers team.
Yeah, like when I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is like if Matrix went 4K. That's what it was. I was like, because Neo was like dodging it, and then she's going through. I was like, yeah, this is when we went from just DVD HD to 4K resolution. I was like,
that's how it works, man.
That was sick, dude. I was like, that's badass.
All right, but Wanda and Agatha are fighting in the air. Wanda gets an advantage on her. She starts revealing these giant runes on each.
Well, they're fighting, and it's storming, and all the classical, just dramatic.
Yes.
But all it shows is.
Oh, I forgot we got
All it shows is like Wanda, giving throwing her powers at her, and Agatha's just taking it all in.
Yep.
But after it settles, and then Agatha, they have a small moment, they talk. Then Agatha goes to finish her off, and she can't. And then all of a sudden, that's when Wanda's like, and then the clouds start fading, and you start seeing the rune symbols in her reality. Yes. And then that's when she tells Agatha, she quotes back from the previous episode, she was like, only the witch who casts runes can cast the spells within them. And I'm like, oh, and Agatha knew she'd been beat. She was like, all right, that was good.
And then Wanda hits her with the same move that she used on the Avengers in Age of Ultron. She hits Agatha with it, sending them back to...
she mind controls her, and it's like the worst punishment, because Agatha is completely petrified. She doesn't want it. She was like, no, anything but that. And then instantly Agatha, stands up, and she's like, well, how are... And then she's like part of, the reality. Yep.
Well, first we had the turn. We had the turn of the witches. They go after Wanda first. And then Wanda ends up unlocking the Scarlet Witch power and all that stuff, and she overcomes it. Then she runes it up. Agatha becomes a good person at the very end, and they keep her in the MCU, surprisingly. So I think she will be back for Doctor Strange 2. I think she's going to run into Mordo. Because I think, like I said, Mordo's going to be looking, and I think he's going to run into Agatha.
If they were to do a team up of somewhat, I think that'd be cool if they went off script and just did a completely different team. A new villains hadn't even done in comics. Because that with Agatha and Mordo, that'd be badass. That'd be a deadly duo right there.
Yeah. But yeah, but she's still in the MCU. She's gonna be living somewhere in Westview Point.
Yeah, Westville.
Westville, yes, somewhere in there. So if the Avengers or Wanda ever needs to pull her out for whatever reason, they know where she's at.
Yeah, because Wanda's keeping around strictly for her knowledge of witchcraft and all that. But
so
after all that, and then your end credits roll, then you get, because there's a book that they were talking about that, and it's like a book that was featured in the one, whatever, it's the witch book. I don't remember what it's called. But Wanda has possession, and it shows her out in this like mountain, way out in the bump, and just way out there, and it shows her coming out on side to sit on her porch to drink a cup of coffee, but the camera, keeps panning. It zooms into the house, and it shows her. Oh my God, what's that called? Because they do it in Strange.
Astral projection.
Yes, she's in her astral form, and she's reading the book.
Yep.
And then all you hear in the background is Vision and the twins' voices, because in this episode, when she's finally letting go, she collapses the reality, and that was heartfelt too, because she's in the house with her sons and Vision, and they tuck him in at night, and Vision even knows too, because he knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And but the boys don't, and then they go downstairs and they're talking, and they know, and it's just, you're watching it all close in, and then it's gone.
Yep. And then that's why she ends up going in isolation to learn.
But now basically, all they did was they gave you the center core for Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yes. That's what Wanda's going to be doing. Wanda's going to be the one opening all the multiverses.
She's strictly going for her boys and Vision. Yep. She is like, she's not living alone. She's already made up her mind on this. She's not doing this again.
Yep. I agree.
She's been through too much. But I think I love this. Like, if they were to do this from now on, just do like a mini series, and then do a movie combining a few of them. Like what they're potentially going to do anyways.
Yeah.
But like, if they just kept doing this, I'm happy, because you're getting so much more out of the story. I think.
Agree with you. Yeah, and it's not just the story; it's character development, it's production value. This feels like a Marvel project. Like, it doesn't feel cheap.
We're definitely moving into a different. Instead of just getting like this typical, trilogy, or like rarely, we got the Harry Potter, 7 movies.
Yes.
And then you got the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, and you have Star Wars, but that's in before. Now what they're doing, using their streaming services to launch their like mini series or mini shows, and then launch it. I love this. I like this.
I agree.
Not the premier access, for an additional $30.
Yeah, no, $30 extra. Disney,
come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will be getting it though. So.
You're like, no. I'm like he's like, yo, Dad. I'm like, no, not $30. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'll wait.
All right, guys. But I will recommend the series if you're a Marvel fan. If you've enjoyed any of the MCU films so far, if you're curious on what's going on with Phase 4 or where they're taking certain characters, then yeah, check this one out. It is a slow burner start, but it does have a boom once that fuse gets to the end of the TNT there.
I think it's when you get to episode 4 is when you
starts to pick up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And the mystery was what drove the plot to the very end, and I like that. They didn't give us a whole lot until they needed to, and then they provided it.
Even though it's a slow burner through your episodes, you get some questions, but then they also answer some of them.
Yes.
But then they leave you some really good cliffhangers for the next episode. Yes. And then they'll answer some of those, but leave you some more. But then they'll leave like one, like when you find out all about Wanda and how, that's the lingering mystery that you're trying to find. But then they also have all these little small ones, like the Petro when they introduced him, and then Monica. Like, I was like, oh, dude, this is just.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of stuff. Yes.
Yeah, to me, especially if you're a person who like loves character driven and story driven, to me it's one of the best pieces I've ever seen. So
it was very good. The emotional beats are all there. The family moments, the moments with her and Vision. If you love these characters already, there's much more to be had if you looking for more of that. It's here. So yeah, hats off to Kevin Feige and Marvel and Disney. You guys did an awesome job on this. I hope you guys keep it strong with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I know you will, because I've already seen the first 2 episodes, which we'll get to sometime next week, guys. We'll have those episodes up. So stay tuned for those, and that will be a weekly thing on Dorkston Movie Minute as well. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Nike, over here, for being with us.
Yeah, no problem.
We really appreciate it. Till next time, leave your comments down below. What you guys think of the Dorkston Movie Minutes? What kind of series would you like us to talk about? Is there any movie special that you guys you'd like us to watch and talk about? I'm definitely open to any of it. So it sounds good to me. Let me know down below.
Just the new Mortal Kombat. Totally hyped for it. Excited.
We're just dropping that one down there. If you want.
Ever since we went to the theaters and we saw that trailer, I was like, oh my god, I'm totally excited for this.
Also, guys, look forward to a quick review of Nobody. We just saw that the other night. So we will be dropping that video this week as well. So till next time, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Keep it right here on Dorkston. And adios, guys.
See ya.